Lou Thesz faithfully defended his World Heavyweight Championship.
Buddy Rogers stress.
Kowalski's got him right where he wants him.
Dory Funk Jr. wanting that World Heavyweight Championship.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Simon Felder's Dusty Rhodes has just become the World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion.
Presenting the greatest organization in wrestling history.
We always deliver on our promises at the National Wrestling Alliance.
Yeah, looks pretty hard, and look at Buddy going to work now. Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durger time, and thank you for joining me once again for another episode of NWA The Dynasty. We have one more episode before our pay-per-view Crossroads. We have a lot to still get done, though. Our tournament is going well. We have Eddie Kingston versus Jacob Fatu left, and then whoever the winner of that is going to face Cody after beating Brock Anderson. We have a couple of storylines brewing, which is nice. We still have a ton of titles that we have to figure out and sort out. Most of them are going to be at Crossroads. I think we'll have everything, maybe not the tags. Maybe we will have the tags. Maybe we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I would like to have the titles settled before we invite some people, because we actually have a lot of people that we can invite into the Alliance. I realized that a huge chunk of people would accept. So if we were to just go into the US, so a lot of different people, like an All Elite are not going to join us. I can't imagine. Yeah, they're not going to join the Alliance. But, Beyond's already in an alliance. Pretty much all of your championship wrestlings are going to accept, which we might fold in. They are traditional, a traditional part of our alliance in some capacity. Keystone State Alliance is a small one, is definitely going to join us, so there's definitely a bunch that we could pull from, and I would like to start getting that going as soon as possible. It's going to help them, it's going to help us just in terms of building that alliance up. We probably have to be careful. We don't want to bring in everybody at once, because our alliance controls are, where's our alliance? There it is. Okay, so we can borrow from them, but it doesn't really matter. There's not going to be anybody out there anymore that is going to be interesting to borrow from, right? Like, this is not the territory days. Everybody, especially these smaller companies, these people do not have exclusive deals. So that's really useless. Our prestige and momentum is affected by other members' fortunes is the big one. That means that if we do well, they're going to do well, but unfortunately that means that if they do poorly, it looks bad upon us as well. So we have to be careful with how we send that out, and how many feelers we send out. I'm trying to see if there's an alliance description of the types here, and I am not seeing it. There it is. Okay. So, if we were to look at the alliance rules here, so obviously we're not a consortium, which is where you pool all the money, you kind of everyone splits the money separately, which would doom us, honestly. We're not territorial or bordered, we're not protective, we are trading, but we also are a public. So, their momentum, if a member rises in size, falls in size, or experiences financial issues, other members will get bonuses or penalties as well. So we want to be careful about that. We want to hitch our wagons to people that are on the rise. If the company looks like it's in bad shape, we would rather be one to buy it outright and then rebuild it. So we have to be careful. We really don't want to do something that's going to hurt us and give us penalties. So it's going to be a slow roll. I think in terms of who to invite, though, I think the championship wrestling, at least from Hollywood and maybe these other guys, they're much tinier. Memphis is insignificant. We don't know how these guys are going to last. These might be ones that we just buy up, but championship wrestling from Hollywood's probably likely one that we will pull into the fold. There are other companies that, like a Major League Wrestling would be a great one to pull from. I can't imagine they would accept. So that would be an interesting one that I think would actually be a great get. They're bigger than us. That leads to some problems with our titles. But they're larger than us. They're hopefully in a better position. And we could probably benefit from that gain from that alliance, versus someone like, I don't know, Rise Pro. Well, Rise might maybe. But, we were looking at that Garden State Pro Wrestling. It's insignificant, ranked 83rd in the world, got 126 to its name. We don't know what the hell this company's gonna look like. We don't know if it's gonna go insolvent. We don't know anything about it at this point. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to incorporate them if it could potentially harm us. This would be a candidate that it would be probably better for us to buy them if possible. And then at least we can control its destiny a little bit. But if we see that it's starting to do well, it might be one that would be a good option to pull into the fold. So I think Championship Wrestling, MLW might both be really good pickups to begin our alliance. But we're not going to do that until we get our titles settled. So we're not going to look at building an alliance until after Crossroads. So I want our champions in place, just so they don't get immediately filled elsewhere. So that's sort of the goal. We also talked about our television title. Again, that'll be something that we add in, I think, after. I like the idea of expanding to more titles that are controlled by us as well, but not yet. I think we need to move up in size. I think we need to move the small first. We are still a tiny company. We have a lot of ground to make back up. Right now, we are 32 in the Southeast, which is our home region. Our next size up is going to 35 in the Southeast. A little early to track the progress, unfortunately. Still 32. I'm hoping that after this pay-per-view, we'll get close to it. Maybe 33, 34. We need to be moving in the right direction. There is some caps in how the size works. So I think there's I don't think we can just jump up to 35, but it's possible. It depends on how good the show is. So we'll have to see. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's get to the next show. And let's keep this train going. All right, we are back. But before we get to the show, some weird stuff happening in the database here. So, still a lot of hirings and stuff like that. That's not too surprising. Obviously, some weird gets like Rise getting a handshake deal with Claudio Castagnoli. That's interesting. But something happened with AEW that's kind of interesting to look at. Obviously, we're going to be wanting to look at what's going on in WWE, New Japan, AEW, MLW, Ring of Honor, like all the bigger guys than us, because it might be an opportunity for us down the line. Something happened. New Japan of America now has hostility towards AEW, which seems like they're about to start a war. We had apparently a talent trade. I didn't realize that. That might have been part of the database and I didn't change it. But we will no longer have a talent trade with NWA. I didn't realize we had it there anyways. So that's unfortunate. That is something we could try to rebuild. But it seems like AEW is starting to break away from its own relationship. So New Japan and them got sour. I checked. They're not. We'll take a look at our relationships, but they're not cold at us. But they're snubbing DDT. They split up with Defy. Okada's in AEW for a second. AEW Dark is going to Dave TV. A lot of weird stuff going on over here with AEW. Getting put on Mega and other channels as well. Some weird things happening. Now, I didn't look at this, and so we do have some existing relationships. For some reason, AEW and us have a quite positive opinion of each other. So, like, we could try to. They're too small to make this beneficial. I think they just bounced this out, saying that it's really not beneficial to them at this point to even have any type of talent trade. Same thing for accepting workers. Offer to accept workers. I doubt that. Yeah, we're too small. So I think that's why we got bounced from it. In terms of other existing relationships, we do have a neutral one that we have an agreement to a talent trade with Impact, which I wasn't aware of. In Ring of Honor, also we have an existing Ring of trading agreement, and we have a friendly, we're not gonna steal from each other kind of thing. So that's interesting. Not something that's really going to be useful for us, and not something we're really that focused on. I want to kind of keep what we have. I grew. Everyone's going to yell at me. I did add a few more people, but we're going to stick at where we're at. I just wanted one more team, so I added one more tag team. I have to bring them in just because I felt like. We have Killer Elite Squad, but I really don't know if they're going to be a group together. The dynamic duo, the Billington Boys here, we might actually pair them up with Davey Boy Smith Jr. and start doing something different with them. But I wanted to add one more to the mix. For the most part, I think for tag teams, we'll probably be pulling from the Alliance. But I added... let me pull them up. So I think we could actually build a long-term stable that might be interesting. So because I got Ricky Knight Jr. here, I thought it'd be interesting to bring two of the other members of the Knights family into the fold. They're labeled the UK Hooligans in the UK, and they agreed to come over here. I don't expect them to do very well, but I think they're going to make a decent undercard for us. We're not going to call them the UK Hooligans. We're going to call them the Order. And that is going to be a new group for us. So we're going to have the Order, Roy Knight, Zach Knight, and is Ricky Knight a face or a heel? A baby face. So we might do something with that at some point. Can you play a heel? Better as a babyface can play a heel. So, granted, we're loosely enforcing heel and faces. We have those blends in between in our product. But I could see building a little stable of the Knight family with the Order. I think that could be interesting, but also it could be interesting to have maybe Ricky Knight Jr. in a tag team with someone else we put together and have him face off against his family. Might be a good springboard. That's down the line. Right now, they're all probably pretty much considered unimportant, I would imagine. Ricky Knight's unimportant, but how about the other Knights? Are they recognizable? I doubt that they're recognizable. All right. Let's find the Knights. Knight Hunt. So we got Roy Knight here is yet to get a perception rating. Okay, so that's why they're not. They're gonna be probably not very important because Southeast states have no popularity, or they don't have any popularity here. Their skill sets fine, not great, but not horrible either. So I thought they'd be an okay get for us in the short term. Put them under a year contract, should be fine. That's really the only major hire that I'm going to pull in right now. I'm pretty much locked on the roster. I do believe in adding people over time, taking people away, but for now we're going to keep it with what we have, and I think overall we have a pretty good mix of things on this roster to work with. So pretty happy with that. Just wanted to give you guys the update on that, as well as the weirdness with AEW. Okay, let's go ahead and get back to the fast forward here to get to the show. Okay, weird one. No backstage incidents. We do have 2 absent workers, both injuries. Unfortunately, Matthias Breeze injured with a concussion. So that is something that we just have to keep in mind. We have 238 fans expected. We're gonna sell out of our location. We could pick a generic venue that will just totally take care of that. Picking the best option says our location, the GBD Studios. Very quickly thinking I may need to buy this and expand it, because 238, we're going to sell it out again. I'm going to do it. I'm going to sell it out. But something we're going to have to keep in mind that we might need to maybe invest in our own location and grow it that way, because very quickly we're going to reach capacity, exceed it if we're already at 238 fans. Now, granted, that is with the change in ticket prices. So why don't we actually bump it up to normal after that first show and see what we're looking at? 170. Let's could you imagine if they did this in real life, just as they were watching it, like, actually prices for the show now went up. 204. Okay, perfect. So we'll stick at cheap. That's a sellout. Gives us the most money possible from the tickets and gets us in a good spot there. So, last show, Eddie Kingston obviously beat Davey Boy Smith. Allison Kay wins a battle royal to face the other 4 champions at Crossroads for a 5-woman elimination challenge for the title. Cody's just a real nice guy, even though he didn't help Brock Anderson fight against Ace Austin, who beat him up and is dead set at attacking people, lashing out, and being just a little prick. And yeah, Pillman wants the title, but wants to prove himself first, which is why he wasn't in the tournament, deciding to work from the ground up. So that is definitely an interesting element to his story. We have to figure out what to do with the tag teams. Haven't figured it out yet. Might just do a ladder match and decide it at the pay-per-view, because I wanted to do the Hot Shot tournament, and I think we still will, where we basically have 2 medallions, two entry tickets, right? 2 golden tickets, if you will, where you can face the other person at the tournament. or at the next pay-per-view. We might do something like that, but it'll just be one golden ticket and we'll have it bouncing around or something like that. But I think we need to figure out what our tag teams are. We just did not have enough time to do all of that with 3 90-minute shows. So, so be it. Both shows did very well, exactly 59 each, despite having some weaker elements to it. Overall, not too bad. So we're in a pretty good spot there when it comes to what our show rating is. We're well above what our size is. So we're putting on pretty much the best type of show we could get for our size and momentum right now. Let's continue that streak. Let's go 59 or over. And I'll catch you guys on the flip for the next episode of NWA Worldwide. All right, guys, we are ready. 95 minutes for our go-home show for our first pay-per-view, Crossroads. Let's go ahead and see what we have in store for it. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't know what the score is going to be, though. Let's go ahead and take a look. So we got 3 pre-show matches. Again, trying to see, well, one, I'm trying to build a little bit of momentum for these guys. They're not being seen by a lot of people. They're just being seen in the arena. But let's build their name up a little bit and see what we can get them to do. This had decent wrestling, but non-existent crowd heat. The Order defeat Midnight Heat in 9 minutes. Roy Knight submits Ricky Gibson. Actually, the Knights don't look too bad. 28 and 31 is about what we kind of would expect from a undercard. I feel like if we put them against Von Erichs, they would probably get like a 44, which is not too bad. Unfortunately, Roy Knight got a poor for his gimmick. Zach Knight got a great. So something I'll have to keep in mind. We'll have to try to give him a better gimmick or tweak it a little bit to help him out a little bit. Midnight Heat, doing okay. 35, 30, looking pretty solid. I think if we continue to keep some of these guys in the pre-show and build up just a little bit of popularity locally, we might be able to springboard them into the actual show proper. Or if we got them with a hot tag team, I'm pretty confident both these guys will do pretty okay. Another match for Knight here. Kevin Von Erich, unfortunately, sucking as a road agent, so maybe we have to move him off of that. Ricky Knight versus Casey Navarro. Did not have much heat, had decent wrestling, though. Ricky Knight defeats Casey Navarro in 8 minutes with a Yakuza kick. Ricky Knight's doing, actually, both these guys look great. 35 each. Gets a 32, mostly probably because Kevin Von Erich just sucked as a road agent. So, again, for a lower card, guys, for openers right now, it's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with that. Then we got Zicky Dice and Jarek 120, aka one part of the Smoking Aces here. Matthias Breeze injured, so Zicky Dice has a tag team, Sleaze and Breeze, with him, but currently not available. Because of the injury, had a minor concussion on a different show. Versus dynamic duo. The Billingtons, though, really not holding up here. 15 and 14. I'm going to try to give them a chance, and maybe we'll move them into a stable, but we're really not seeing a performance that we would want from even our undercards. Like I said, for our undercards, I want anybody on the lower end like a 30 minimum. Jarek 120's got a 36 here. Siki has a 42. That's what we're looking for. 15s of 14s, not much I could do with that. So that's concerning. Maybe we keep building them. Maybe we add them to a stable of Davey Boy Smith Jr. I don't know. But a little concerning out of the gate that we're not really getting even a 20s in performance here. We'll see. We'll see how they fare after we build them up a little bit. But right now, we give Jarek the win, pins Thomas Billington, gets us a 33 for this pre-show match. And final pre-show match, Kerry Morton versus Lance NOI. Two guys I don't think we've had much. I don't think we've used them at all yet. So pre-show, giving them an opportunity to kind of see what they can do. Obviously, we didn't have much heat here. Decent wrestling. Very good rating for Lance here. Kerry Morton, not horrible at 26. Like I said, 26 is like 20's bare minimum for what I kind of expect from the bottom of the card. So he's better than the bottom, but he's definitely got a lot to improve on. Lance looking pretty solid at a 35. So that's pretty okay. I'm happy with both of these guys for where they are. I think we can build them both to be interesting undercards. I think Lance is probably going to be part of a stable at some point. So when we pull the trigger on that, I think he'll make a good rounder for them. But we'll see. All right. On to the show itself. We got Brock Anderson, everyone's favorite wrestler, versus Jordan Oliver. Jordan Oliver puts on an impressive performance, carrying Brock Anderson here pretty well. Our goal is to build Brock up. So Jordan is unfortunately the better wrestler, but taking the pin here because our goal is to move Brock up here, and Jordan is helping him out, right? So confusing Arn and Brock on different sides of the face-heel divide. We need to move, I think, Arn to face because Brock is definitely going to be a face competitor. Arn doing good work ringside with him. Got to show off to a strong start. This was a work-the-crowd match, not very taxing. Gets us a 40. Gets Brock a win after his loss in the against Cody in the tournament. Afterwards, of course, Ace Austin has targeted Brock Anderson as his first target of vengeance here. And he attacks Brock once more. But surprisingly, Brian Pillman Jr., who has a little bit of history with Ace Austin, comes out to help make the save and protect Brock Anderson. He pushes Ace Austin away. He saves Brock. And Austin backs off a little more weary to confront Pillman directly right now. And seems like Brock Anderson has a bit of an ally with Pillman Jr. Their families have some history, so it kind of makes sense that maybe he's willing to help Brock out here. But an interesting wrinkle to this issue with Ace Austin and Brock Anderson that's developing here. This gets a 41, so combined with the really good opener, very happy with both of those. Anytime it's green is good in my book, so if we're doing 40s or up for a segment, I'm very happy with it. The 35s we can manage, but they're not as ideal. So starting off the show with this I'm very pleased with this. Unfortunately, I think there's some segments that will not be doing that, but we'll get to those. This is unfortunately one of them. We have the Cologne Dynasty coming in. Orlando, Eddie, and Carlito debut. They come in, they say they're here in NWA, they're ready for a fight. My boys are ready for a fight. Carlito says, anyone that wants to come out, 1-on-1, 2-on-1, 2-on-2, whatever you want to do, we're going to show you why our family is so respected in Puerto Rico. I think it's Puerto Rico. Yeah, it's Puerto Rico. I was like, where's that family from again? Yes, it's from Puerto Rico. Surprisingly, Colt Cabana comes out to wrestle. This doesn't make Carlito seem very pleased. I think he's looking for what he would consider a real competitor, and Colt Cabana, being a noted comedy wrestler, is not quite the person he wants. But one of the Cologne brothers decides to take the challenge. They all get great ratings. Everybody gets a great ratings. No Joking Matter is a new storyline that advances with the segment. It's a 38. I was really hoping for a little bit more, but it's fine. It's not that bad. The Cologne's rock, paper, scissors. Eddie is the one that comes in to work the match. This is a comedy match. Colt kind of makes a mockery of Eddie. They do very well. Both of them actually are great. There's great heat in the match. There's good wrestling. Colt Cabana defeats Eddie Kingston. Could you imagine? Oh boy. Colt Cabana defeats Eddie Cologne in 7 minutes. Gives him a Colt 45 and then a pinfall. Colt has a 54 here. Eddie a 31. Colt showing some good in-ring performance, some good heat giving. He does a good comedy match with him. Kind of makes Eddie a bit of a mockery here. Gets us ultimately a 47. Very good match. I thought this was going to be much worse, to be honest. Afterwards, we have a pretty decent segment as well. Eddie's upset. Colt made a mockery of him in this match. It's a very comedy-focused match. And all three Colognes end up beating up Colt Cabana and leaving him on the ground. Very upset at this. You know, they came in looking for a serious match, and not only do they lose in their first match, but it's by a comedy wrestler, right? So he's a little feeling disrespected here. This is a pretty good segment. We have a very decent tag team match. Kimberly, Thunder Rosa, Mickie James, Ramona Riot. All four of these women, former NWA champions in our previous save, all facing each other with the inclusion of Allison Kay now in a 5-woman elimination match at the pay-per-view. So we have an exhibition match. We have Thunder Rosa and Kimberly teaming with Mickie James, teaming up against Mickie James and Ramona Riot. Mickie James and Ramona Riot end up defeating Kimberly and Thunder Rosa. Ramona Riot gets the pin on Kimberly with a destination unknown. Looking at the scores, we're looking pretty good here. Thunder Rosa has 62, Kimberly a 50, Ramona a 55, Mickie James a 52. Got the crowd hot. Gets us a really great 54. So middle of the show, this is a fantastic score. I'm very happy with this. And we see Ramona, getting on top here of Thunder Rosa and Kimberly, and definitely building momentum going in. Obviously, though, this short-term alliance between them, everyone's heated, and that leads to a bit of a brawl. Allison Kay comes out to square down on them, and then everybody starts fighting, leading to the locker room to come out to separate all 5 women. The uneasy alliance in this tag match has pretty much immediately ended after the show, or after the match itself, and they all just break up and just start fighting. Have to be broken up by the staff and brought to the back. So we have some heat going into this storyline, going into our women's championship match. The segment itself is a 49, does very well. Very happy with this. Yeah, we knew we were going to get a yellow eventually, didn't we? Tim Storm Jr. versus Aaron Solo. Again, Tim, for being a young lion for us, 29 is not horrible. If we build him up, I think we could get some decent scores from him. So I'm not too concerned. Not like the Billington boys that got like a 15, right? So we're not that bad. But it's definitely something we need to develop. We have his storyline with QT and him. So he's facing one of the factory members, Aaron Solo. Aaron Solo does defeat Tim Storm Jr. in 10 minutes, gives him a pinfall after a flying drop kick. Kevin Von Erich, again, kind of struggling with developing this match. Aaron Solo has a pretty good performance of a 38. So, again, a good mid-carder for us. And showing up Tim Storm Jr. here. Afterwards, another unfortunately lower segment, but I kind of expected that. QT Marshall comes out and has a promo where he kind of cuts a little bit of a promo trying to entice Tim Storm Jr. to join the factory. We know he wanted him to join the factory earlier. Now he's kind of expanding upon it here and goes, Junior, you have so much potential. You have as much potential as your dad, former NWA champion, now an announcer. I could see that in you. There's that raw, potential. I see it in you. It's great, but you're unrefined. Because, the true thing is all gems, they really need to be cut to be appreciated. They need to be shown their limits. They need to be refined and perfectly processed. The only thing you really lack besides time and experience is that killer instinct needed for a professional wrestler to really make it far in this business. And I'm willing to give that to you. All right? At the factory, I've made monsters out of men. And it's time for you to shine, Tim. Why don't you join us and I could elevate you to the next level? Tim Storm Jr. politely declines and then offers to shake Aaron Solo's hand. He's more interested in going his own way. He's not interested in what QT is offering. Aaron Solo ignores the handshake and instead walks to the announce booth and meets up with Nick Camarado. QT just goes, well, not going to join. Well, that's a real shame. And he nods to Camarado and Aaron, who both then proceed to attack Tim Storm Sr., who was trying to do announcing on the booth. He gets roughed up before Camarado lifts up Tim Storm and plows him through the announce table and giving him a big bomb through the table. Tim Storm Jr. is furious. Tim Storm Sr. hurt. The factory laughing as they walk away, building up this new storyline. QT clearly showing that if he doesn't join him, he's going to hurt the things that he loves, and is trying to bring out that ruthlessness out of Tim Storm Jr. here. Another unfortunately lower segment. We knew they were going to happen. Delilah Doom debuts for us. Kevin Von Erich, again, going to take him off of road agenting. He's not helping us here. Delilah Doom defeats Kylie Ray in 9 minutes with a fast roll-up to have an exhibition match together. Kylie has a 42. Delilah has a 26. So, again, the goal is to maybe move Delilah up, build her up a little bit. Afterwards, we have a nice little moment where Kylie Ray loses but offers to shake Delilah's hand. And Kylie Ray is not upset. She's actually kind of impressed by her, and despite the flash loss, kind of offers her a little sign of respect, shakes the hand, and shows some appreciation. The two are bubbly and pleasant to one another. It certainly is not going to be a thing that will upset other people in the locker room, but we have a brewing friendship going on here between the two of them. And in our main event, we got for the semifinals of our World Championship Tournament, Eddie Kingston versus Jacob Fatu. It's a pretty good match, 54. Kingston defeats Jacob Fatu in 14 minutes with a fast roll-up. Kingston had a 64, Jacob Fatu had a 57. We preserve a little momentum for Jacob by having Kingston kind of getting a quick win here, right? He ends up getting him off balance, but keep Jacob strong. The match is said to be exceptional. It gets to 54, and that means that Eddie Kingston will be facing off with Cody Rhodes at Crossroads. We have Kingston cutting a promo after the match to end the show here. And he requests a microphone. He's panting. He's trying to regain his composure, and then he cuts a promo on Cody. He says, Cody Rhodes is not who you think he is. I've worked with Cody elsewhere, And I'm going to tell you right now, what you see on screen, what you see out here is not what you get backstage. Cody is venom. Cody is a snake. Cody is a coward. Cody is a liar and a fraud. And all of you cheering him right now have been conned by his glitz and glamour. Cody is not the savior of pro wrestling. He doesn't give a shit about you. He doesn't give a shit about the boys in the back or the NWA or indie wrestling or his legacy or whatever else he spews. Cody only cares about Cody. He is... And then Cody finally hits the ring, looking fired up, looking upset at Eddie Kingston. His appearance stopping Eddie in his tracks in his promo. They square up. Eddie looking to fight. He's kind of got his fist movements going. And Cody is biting his lip. He's looking conflicted, like he knows he wants to act a certain way, but he needs to present a different way. And he knows he wants to make a move. He seems like he can't. He slowly, beleagueredly offers a hand to shake instead. The motion appears forced and strained, like he really doesn't want to. And Eddie laughs at him, pushes past him, and leaves. So we got Eddie Kingston saying that Cody is a fraud. He's not who you think he is. He is playing a role, and he is a snake in the grass that will sell people out for the first opportunity, and he cares about nothing. Cody coming out, appearing upset at this, but there's a hint of something else in Cody that we're seeing as he tries to portray this pure white knight that he's trying to put on. And maybe Eddie has a little bit of truth in his statement, but we'll have to see. The two of them going to collide for the NWA World Championship at Crossroads. The segment does very good. Brandy out there giving good chemistry with Cody, and ultimately gets us a 64 rating for the segment. And let's see what the show ranks. Last two were 59. Will we beat that? Will we stay the same? I think we're going to stay the same, but let's take a look. Actually, a little bit worse, unfortunately, which is not to be surprised because we didn't have Cody in a match. But overall, a 54 is still a fantastic rating and I think ultimately a very good go-home show for us. All right, we're back. Last night's Worldwide was said to be awesome and has outshone some of our bigger companies' efforts lately. So people are down with us. Financially, we are losing money, but that is to be expected. I do not panic. We are losing $36,000, yes, right now. We're probably going to lose about $50,000 a month. I'm hoping the pay-per-views give us a little bit of that back, but it is not surprising to us one bit. We have Crossroads coming up. World figures 15,000 viewers. Again, to be about expected. Curious to see what broadcasting options we have. So far, not a lot. Mav TV, the only terrestrial television available for us, commercial network. Internet subscription service means we're going to be pretty limited in what we're getting financially from them. Yeah, so, we don't have any big broadcasters willing to show our show yet, so we're kind of stuck in that financial bleed right now. But that's okay. Broadcast revenue, we got about $4,000 here from advertising, so about $1,000 a show, a little bit more than. It's not the end of the world. About $1,000 in ticket sales as well per show. And merchandising, we haven't gotten our, we might have gotten all of our sponsorship revenue, which is sort of a random amount that we kind of get. So right now, unless things change, we're probably poised to lose about $40,000 a month. not the best situation, but that is again why we have, $750,000 in the bank. We're going to use that. We're going to go down quickly. We're not going to worry about the finances. We're going to spend the money that we have in our war chest in the hope that we can build that momentum as quickly as possible. In terms of movement, we're still about the same. We haven't moved up yet, but I expect Crossroads will do a lot for us. But more importantly, we've been putting on some pretty good shows, and we have several storylines that should be pretty hot by now. Crossroads building up at a hot rating. QT's story considered hot. Ramona Riot's story considered hot. And then Pillman's all hot. So we have some hot storylines happening. So all very good. And a couple that we are poised to probably start brewing and do well with. So overall, momentum, pretty good. Very happy with the first couple episodes here. And very excited for Crossroads. So hope you guys are enjoying. If you haven't subscribed, we're only a few hundred, less than 100 away from 2,000. Great milestone for our channel. So if you're watching and you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and let's get to that next milestone. It means a lot to me. So if you are a lingerer, think about subscribing. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time for Crossroads.